Hello gorgeous friends, how are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I am, because yay, I'm back in the shed. We haven't been here together for ages, have we? Not really since the beginning of December. The shed needs a load of work. It stinks in here at the moment. We're not going to hang around because one, Rusty's just been in and sprayed, the dirty boy, but two, I left some potatoes on the potting bench. It's before the freeze, so they got frozen and then they defrosted and they rotted. So yeah, it's a stinky mess in here. Never mind, I'm a mess as well because I've been running around a bit. Never mind all that. Let's have a little look at where the garden is at. It's kind of the beginning-ish of February. Actually, we're heading into the middle of February. Never mind. But let's just have a look to see where the garden is at, because it wasn't a good winter. I know it's not been a good winter for a lot of people, but an unusually not good winter for me here. But I've also got with me my notebook. Remember my much simplified plan? So I'm going to try and indicate and talk about this as we go around, but I've only got two hands, so it might be a bit tricky. We'll see. Anyway, come on, let's go and look at the sorry state of the garden in the middle of February 2023. My almost certainly last ever year in this garden. Come on. Oh, put your wellies on, it's really squishy underfoot. Oh, what a dishevelled mess the whole garden looks. Let's come this way so I can show you the whole garden. Yeah, it's, oops, excuse me, it is, oh my goodness, what a mess. Hopefully I can get it whipped into shape in not too much time. But yeah, what a terrible winter this year for this garden. Okay, let's start down here. First of all of this now, all this, these sort of dead foliage, these plants, these seed heads have all been pretty much done for, done for by the birds. So all of that can be chopped down now. But this bed, there's nothing left. Can you see just a few, kind of dead, flopped over stalks, and in some places they completely disappeared. This bed was all my purple sprouting broccoli with a couple of red kale on the end spare, and I am really going to miss these this year. In fact, with that frost I lost one, there's a bed down there, 1, 2, 3, was that all the brassicas I had? I mean, I lost 3 beds of brassicas, which is just unheard of. The other thing about not having the brassicas is, of course, normally by about March or April they will start to flower, and they are fantastic sort of early food for any bees. So I won't be feeding the bees this year. Oh, quel dommage. Obviously, you know, the paths, the weeds are starting to come back in some of the paths. Those ones aren't so bad, but yeah, this path here, so I need to get on with weeding. You know, my approach in general with the garden anyway is I'll see this is bed number 1. I'll take the bed as a whole and say to myself, right, I'm going to have a day where I come down, weed each bed, you know, weed all the paths, each of the beds, just get the whole of bed number 1 tidied, and then likewise for bed 2, bed 3 and bed 4. Not sure when I'm going to do that yet, but that's how I'll proceed with these beds. 3 Cavallo Nero survived, and then on the far end, just one moment. Yeah, so 3 Cavallo Nero just about survived, but my goodness, look at the scrawniness of them. So I have been having some green leaves away, but I've had to skimp on them a bit. But yeah, you can just see the rest. They're either the remains of bits of stalks, or they just completely melted and disappeared. All the spinach and chard really got clobbered, but the chard, you can see that's a bit of chard there, is coming back. great. Now the dazzling blue kale, this fared much better than everything else. I did lose a couple down on the end here, and the rest are they're in degrees of being stunted, but they have been lovely. They've been absolutely lovely, and I'm just noticing it looks like they want to, there's our Rosie. Hey Rosie, say hello to everyone for the first time this year. No, she doesn't care, she's already had cuddles. Yeah, I think they look like they want to start sprouting. No, not yet. I want to get about another month's worth of eating out of them. Right, anyway, so yeah, it's like so empty. So normally I would have, this would all be just, the purple sprouting broccoli would be massive by now, and I'd be getting really excited about getting my first stems in about 3 weeks or so. But not this year, so never mind. Now, this bed, and looking at my plan, can you see? So what I'm hoping to do is have loads of beds of calendula and flowers. So this is the main path, and here comes our Rusty. Say hello for the first. You see, he's had cuddles already too. But where this is our main path that everyone uses, I just thought it would be lovely to do all my flowers at this end this year. And calendula is a really important crop for me because it's all my skincare. However, I'm going to grow way more this year. So this whole bed, calendula and basically whatever flower seeds I've got in my tin. And I had a look the other day, and I've got tons of flower seeds because I've been gifted flower seeds over the years, but I never grow them. So this year I'll give them a go. This is what is a sad, sorry, state of affairs. Never mind. And on to a bit more sadness. The garlic bed. The garlic, I don't know, you see, I mean, they are all so puny. I mean, some of them, let me show you here, they're barely more than like a blade of grass. Absolutely pathetic. What a shame. I don't know. I think the garden's trying to tell me to bugger off. I've had enough fun and I've had enough crops. Now it's time to go. Well, we'll see. And then next door, well, it was supposed to be all my broad beans. I've lost the majority. It's not easy to see through the nets, but these 2 rows, I think all but one have gone. These 2 rows, I think I might have five survivors. What I should have done, I mean, I don't know, maybe I was caught sleeping. That 10-day really quite hard freeze in December, I didn't know that it was going to be such a hard freeze, nor did I know that it was going to go on for 10 days. What I ought to have done is fleece these 2 tunnels, just throw fleece over the top, but I didn't, and those poor plants, you can see there's a couple in this end, the poor plants have succumbed. I'm not going to do anything about them. I don't need this bed anytime soon, so you know what, some of them may sprout again, so I just leave all of them exactly as they are. And, you know, if they resprout, great. If they don't, well, I'm only going to have 1 broad bean this year. Oh, I hope this isn't a portent for the rest of the year. Now, obviously the beds behind were emptied in the autumn. So the plan for this bed for this year, as you can see, starting at the far side, so that far bed there, I'm hoping to have 2 rows of tomatoes. And then everything in front is going to be where you can see Muscade de Provence, that's a large squash, then some courgettes and small squash. The tomatoes, I don't know if that will work because I'm going to have to start them in the cold frame rather than in the flat where it's warmer, so I'll be starting later. But yeah, hopefully I'll get something by way of tomatoes. And as I was talking about when I was sorting through my seeds and talking about this plan. The plan is so much of it is about not digging, is one thing. 2, not starting too many seeds, not starting seeds at home, etc., etc. But also in terms of the care in the garden throughout the year, plants which need less care. And then ultimately, in terms of the harvest, plants that really don't need much care in terms of harvest and storing. So of course all the squash will just store with me doing absolutely nothing to them. Beans will store dried, as I mentioned. The tomatoes, well, if they work, I'll eat a few and I'll just chop and freeze them. But yeah, this is very much about a garden that's kind of, can I disappear tomorrow? Can I disappear in 6 months? What's going to be the easiest thing to do? So yeah, lots of squash. Okay, bed number 3. This also had a load of brassicas in it and just a couple of straggling little cavollos survived. Sorry, I was looking elsewhere. The beetroot bed, this did so well. Well, it wasn't the beetroot bed, what was it? Coco de Pampol, and I did beetroot in the gaps, and the beetroot did fantastically for me. That spider's web, that's the nasturtium plant that, well, freeze-dried in December. So, but this year, bed number 3, if I stand back, so obviously each bed has got 5 mini beds in, as you can see here. 4 beds of butternut squash, all at the front, and then that last bed at the back, some beans, 2 rows of beans. I think that'll work okay. And then, goodness me, it's going to be the fastest walk around the garden ever because there's nothing here. I had the last of my parsnips out the other day. They were great. Now, I'm just thinking about this today. I might have a slight change of plan because you see where I've got this double row of calendula. I didn't get to them for the last of the heads for seed saving before all the bad weather came. So all the seeds have dropped. So I'm thinking that's going to be, this is all going to be calendula again, even though I'm not intending. But what I have been intending for this whole bed number 4, is another double row of beans there, exactly as I had them last year, but the rest of this bed given over to beetroot, chard, lettuce, spinach, all the stuff that I can get started in modules, either on the deck or in the cold frame. They start so easily in modules, and then I can plug the whole module into the ground. In other words, I don't need to dig these beds and get them to a fine till and prepare them as a seed bed, because I won't be sowing the seed into the bed. I'll be doing it into the modules. The modules are more robust when it comes to planting out. Just plant them all out. And one of the reasons for doing it all in this bed is because these are the things that will want a bit more by way of watering, and or at least there'll be more plants to water. Obviously all the squash will need watering, but there'll only be 4 plants per row, whereas in these beds there'll be many more plants per row. And just down the back over there's a water tank. So I thought, put these nearest the water tank and hopefully reduce a few of my watering can miles, because I'm sure it must be miles by the end of a drought year. So yeah, that's the plan. Really, really, really simple. Top bed full of flowers, mostly calendula, because I will harvest them and use them. Then the rosy bed, tomatoes, and the rest will be squash, courgettes. Another bed that is 4 beds of butternuts, and then the back bed beans. Not under the rose bush, the one in front, beans, and then the rest is going to be all this sort of beetroot, chard, all that lovely stuff I enjoy, but I can start in modules. Woohoo! And then, in terms of where else the garden is at the moment, actually this bed number 3, and bed number 2 aren't too weedy. I think that's because I did that mega thorough weed in, I can't remember when it was now, maybe November. So they're not too bad, but yeah, bed number 1, the whole bed will need a really good thorough weeding. I mean, all these beds will need a little bit just in the paths, not too much. Obviously the herb bed has been very dormant over winter, but signs of life. The rhubarb is coming back, this one, and hang on, I'm just going to put my the plan. Don't let me forget the plan. So what else? We've got that was the marjoram I transplanted and put it into the soil rather than having it in a pot. All the little pockets of chives are starting to come back. The sedum, now I can take off all this dead material. It's sprouting there at the bottom. I do love the way it looks at that stage. These little rosettes, gorgeous. Bit of weeding to do, not too much, but again, all of this sort of the dead verbena, I can cut it right down because again, we can see right down in there lovely new shoots. Oh, it looks like the first of my bulbs are coming up. Oh, just behind Clint. There's my bulbs. I think these are the Istivum lycodium, is that it? Or the Sicilian garlic. Also the tree lily. I need to get rid of their old stalks, the old lovage stalks. That can all be cut right back now. Likewise, coming around. Oh, it's clobbering me. This verbena just got massive. Oh, right into the light. And you can see right down there, it's shooting as well. So this can be cut right back to the ground now. The rhubarb is raring to go. And this was the other thing I wanted to do. It's flopped down again, but the honeysuckle and rose hadn't been too happy, and then last year they finally got going, but it's fallen over, so I want to properly string it up the fence. The rose I did string up, and then I turned it at the end of last year so that it will come this way along the wires. But look, can you see just how many every little leaf node has got a new shoot on it. It's really ready to get going. I mean, it's going already. Lovely, really strong, healthy shoots. And I'm hoping that means that this year it might even flower. I still have 2 more cuttings of it. Oh, in pots there. They don't look very happy. They're stunted from being in pots, but they're the ones I'm keeping for when I move. The other rose, like that one, and the honeysuckle cutting that are in the trough by the shed, I'm actually going to be transplanting them really soon to a little communal spot in the allotment here. The blueberry as well. I wonder if you'll be able to make it out. Look, little buds everywhere. This needs a bit of a prune. That branch needs to come out completely. Yeah, that's another job to be getting on with quite soon. I sort of, you see this one, this really long one, I sort of want to prune this back a bit because it's mega unwieldy, but that's new growth and that's what the fruit is going to come on. Well, you see this stuff that's much greyer, that's where I want to start pruning out because it is a bit of a mess. Thoughts, not sure. Obviously, every single pelargonium died. Of course it did. I just put them there one day, forgot about them, and now they're all dead. A bit of tidying up here to do. So yeah, it's let's come. Oh, Gordon Bennett, let's come back this way. You know, blimey, I mean, it's really empty. Going on my previous years. there would be, you know, 3 or 4 beds bursting with brassicas, and the broad beans and garlic would be looking more buoyant, but they're not. You know what a rubbish winter, never mind. Otherwise, I think, you know what I think? I don't want to jinx myself, but I think it's not looking too bad at the moment. So where I've had recent activity, getting the last of the parsnips out, trying to make sure I've got all the last of the spuds out. I'm going to come and stand this way in lee of the hedge and see if I get a bit of shelter, because there's a little bit of a cool breeze going around. Oh, did I get all the spuds out? Did I heck? Oh my goodness, there's always 1 or 2, isn't there? And let me just dump it there a sec. Yeah, so where I've got this bed and the parsnip bed, obviously they've had recent-ish action. I do need to get them covered, because where are we? What did I just say? Middle of February, middle of March. Probably these beds won't really... You see, this is what's going to be interesting for me this year, because I'm going to be doing a lot of the module sowing rather than direct sowing. I don't know, I mean, with a bed like this, I could do direct sowing, but what I'm ruminating on is the fact that if I start things in modules, that means the bed won't be needed till much later. So instead of, say, for example, sowing direct in April, if I sow in the modules in April, I'll be planting out in May. The point I was going to come on to make is where I have got these empty beds now, and where else have we got empty beds? Oh, yeah, okay. The ex-beetroot / coco de pampol and the ex-brassica bed there, and the ex-salad bed up at the top. I have got a load of cardboard in the shed, so I'm just going to get them covered. The covering is partly to suppress weeds. I'll weed first. Yeah, this bed really needs weeding. I'll weed the beds first, of course I will. Get them covered, and then covering with the cardboard will help to suppress weeds, but also the ground, the moisture in the ground at the moment is just about perfect. It's really moist, but it's not sopping and heavy. So putting the cardboard on will help to retain that. If, like we've done for the last couple of years, we've suddenly gone really warm and dry, even in March, and then the ground bakes to concrete. So I think that's the priorities. A bit of weeding, but mostly it's going to be about covering these empty beds and really getting my head around a really quite different schedule for myself, because my sowing, my seed sowing sap is rising. Having done it for years and years and years, my kind of internal clock is telling me that it's time this weekend to sow celery and peppers. That's the last of last year's celery, still getting a bit from it. Yes, so my internal clock is telling me that I need to do some sowing this weekend, but of course that would be at home, and I'm not doing any at home. And I'm already thinking that mid-March, time to start tomatoes. Mid-March, end of March, mid-March is plenty early. I would never sow tomatoes earlier than mid-March. But anyway, you get the gist, that it's going to be weird for me to plan and organise myself in the next few months, because I'm doing everything completely differently to how I've ever done it before. But that's part of the joy and the adventure, isn't it? So, yeah, I've got enough work to keep me happy and keep me going until the end of March without killing me, and whilst trying to also fit in all the jobs I'm trying to do in terms of decorating and repairs and things and bits and bobs at the flat. So yeah, what do you all think? I don't think it's looking too bad, is it? Right, well, it's definitely getting a bit chilly. I can feel it on my hands. So I'm going to say a fond farewell to you all for now, and hopefully we'll be back here, really quite soon, and we can start tucking into some of these jobs. Yay! Can't wait. When the sun is out and it's been really quiet here this last hour. The quiet, the sun's out, the birds are singing. It's just an absolute joy, a joy to be back here. Yay! Until the next one, cheerio.